Hey everybody, I'm so glad to have you here today at my YouTube channel. This video is for you antique booth owners out there, and we're going to talk about the question on everybody's mind is, what can I do in this crummy economy right now? Is my booth going to survive? So I have some thoughts to share with you today. I hope you're going to be encouraged. I hope I can give you a couple things to walk away with. So let's get going. Okay, so you may know that I have a group of antique booth owners that I coach and a group on Facebook. It's my Booth Seller Bootcamp group that I've had for a while. And this question has just been coming up a lot in that group. Sales have been down a little bit in people's various antique booths, and everybody and their brother is talking about the economy, right? Like, so inflation and war and gas prices and all of that crazy stuff. And so this, just to start off, I want to say, like, none of this is political. I have like no political agenda here that I'm sharing. I'm just saying that, like, the talk of that is kind of all over the news, right? And so we're hearing that, we're taking that in, and then as small business owners, we're thinking, well, is that going to affect me? What am I going to do? Or maybe we're seeing a dip in our sales and feeling the stress and the worry. So this is just a conversation that I've had with several people lately, and I thought, you know what, let's go ahead and address it in a video. Let's talk about kind of the elephant in the room right now, which is that, yeah, the economy in some places maybe isn't doing so hot. So the first thought that I want to share with you guys is that I do personally believe that it's not as bad as everybody says it is. Again, I'm not an economist. I don't mean anything political by any of that. Are there things that are not good? Of course there are, absolutely. But here's why I'm saying that I don't think it's as bad as, like, the fear mongering is trying to make it out to be. Because I see people every single day buying stuff. Like, every day. I was at a coffee shop with a friend last week, and I saw, like, it was full. There was like 20 people in there buying lunch, expensive coffees, muffins, dropping 10, 15, 20 bucks, right? I see a line of people through Starbucks every day buying $6, $7, $8 coffees every day, right? I'm still seeing people buying stuff. I'm looking around right now, and outside people are decorating their porches with pumpkins and mums and bales of hay. And y'all, that stuff isn't free, right? Like, pumpkins are $9, $10 a piece, and then mums are expensive, and it's like $300 worth of stuff on people's porches that's gonna rot and they're gonna throw away here in a couple weeks, okay? So, like, that's why I'm saying that, because I see people buying stuff all the time. So are people maybe spending less on big things, larger purposes, maybe not taking that big vacation, maybe not getting that new car? Yes, of course, that's for sure going on. And are people maybe shopping a little less than they were before? Sure. But we're not selling these gigantic expensive things, right? We're small businesses. We're selling small items, maybe a couple medium price items, maybe a piece of furniture here or there. We're not selling these crazy expensive stuff. So, and just like, I just want you to be encouraged, because as I'm out and about, like, I just remind myself that. I'm like, all right, Melanie, people are buying stuff still all the time, every day. My first thought is that I don't want you to buy into the fear mongering that's like, oh my gosh, nobody's ever gonna shop again, ever. I just don't think that's true. And thinking that way, honestly, like, it's not gonna help you. It's just gonna make you feel panicked, make you feel afraid. That's not what you need. What you need is a plan. What you need is knowing how to take care of your business when the situations that your business is existing in are maybe less than ideal, because they are less than ideal, right? People aren't shopping quite like they have, but it doesn't mean that they're not shopping ever. And it doesn't mean that your business is automatically going to tank. Okay, I want to tell you guys a quick story. When I'm kind of sharing thoughts with people, I think in metaphors. It helps me to kind of think and process. And so a couple weeks ago, I was out working in my garden, and this metaphor hit me for this situation that we're in right now. So 3 years ago, we moved here, and I have always loved homegrown tomatoes in the summer. And so we built this big garden box, and I planted these 4 tomato plants. I also planted some zucchini and some other stuff. And anyway, that year we had a banner garden. I had the best garden that I've ever had in my entire life. Like, I had zucchini coming out of my ears. I had tomatoes coming out of my ears, and I really didn't have to do a lot of work. Like once I built the garden and I bought the garden soil to put in there, I just kept it watered. I didn't really have to treat it for bugs. Like we didn't get fungus on our tomatoes. I don't know, everything just kind of grew. And I had this great growing season. And the reason is because like the conditions were great. It was a beautiful summer. It was just warm enough to have the seeds sprout and grow, but it wasn't too hot. We got just enough rain that it was like every time it was time for me to go water, it would rain. It worked out perfectly, so I didn't have to go water. And also the soil was full of nutrients because I bought this like fertilized garden soil, right? So the plants were getting everything that they needed. They were happy, they were healthy. It was like just ideal growing conditions. And I just had so much produce, I didn't even know what to do with it. It was fantastic. All right, fast forward to this past year where it started off super, super cold and rainy. And then right after that, it got nasty, insane hot. And it basically didn't rain again for like 6 to 8 weeks. And it was like over 100 degrees. It was terrible, okay? My garden did not do as well this summer. Like this year, the growing conditions for my vegetables, they just weren't ideal. So it was the same soil that I've been using for 3 years, right? So the soil that was in those garden boxes, by this point in time, it has no nutrients left, right? The plants have sucked it all up the past couple years. There were no nutrients left in there. There was also fungus, bugs, all this stuff that as soon as I put the plants in, it came up out of the soil and my plants got diseased. They got really buggy. And then we had like way too much rain and then it got way too hot, right? So just nothing, like the nature was not doing me any favors trying to grow stuff this summer. So, but here's what happened. Like I still grew stuff. We still had plenty. I still had several zucchini until I just gave up on the plant. Still had plenty of tomatoes. They weren't as big. They weren't as juicy, but the whole thing just took me more work. Like I was out there every morning and every night watering. I had to fertilize. I had to make sure that I was feeding the plants because they weren't getting what they needed from the soil. I had to literally pick bugs off them with my hands and use some insecticidal soap on them. Like I was just on top of the bugs every day. I was out there picking off bugs and spraying things, and I had to keep them pruned. Like it just was a lot of work. Now, I hope you're seeing the parallel that I'm going with this story. Vegetables are easy to grow in your garden when you have amazing growing conditions. You can just kind of throw them in there and they just do their thing. When the growing conditions aren't so great, you can still grow the vegetables, but you got to pay really close attention to the fundamentals of keeping the plant healthy. The plant has to have enough water. It has to have the nutrients that it needs. Can't get infested with bugs. You have to pay attention to that stuff when it's stressed in its environment, okay? I still got what I wanted to get from it, but it took a lot more management and I had to make sure that I was on top of keeping it healthy. So that's kind of the situation that we're in right now with our businesses. If you've had an antique booth, you may have gone through the seasons where it was just, you just threw stuff in there and people bought it. And you didn't have to market it, and you didn't have to worry about if it was the right price, and you didn't have to worry about if your vignettes were styled well, and everybody was just out shopping and they just bought your stuff. Right now, that's kind of not where we're at as a retail season. That's kind of not where we're at as an economy. But just like I was still able to grow my vegetables in this less than ideal summer, you can still grow and maintain a business in this less than ideal environment. But it's going to take a little bit more work. And specifically the work that it's going to take is you have to do really, really well on the fundamentals of your business. Unhealthy, weak businesses are the businesses that die out in a bad economy. Businesses that are fundamentally strong, that are paying attention to their numbers, that are financially sound, that have a plan, those businesses tend to survive. You can survive. It's the businesses that are kind of willy-nilly, where you just kind of want it to be easy. You don't want to pay attention to it. Maybe you've overspent. Maybe you've got a ton of debt. Those are the ones that as soon as the weather gets hot and the rain goes away and the bugs come, those things wither and die. Yes, your booth can still grow and it can still thrive, but it's going to take a little bit more work. It's going to take you paying very close attention to the fundamentals of your business right now. And those are the few things that I want to talk to you about. All right, I've got 3 fundamental things that I really want you to pay attention to in this season right now for your antique booth. Number 1 is your location. I am a huge believer that the right location can make or break your antique booth business. So the right location for you means that it has the foot traffic that you want, because yes, there are still places that are getting great foot traffic, because even if people aren't necessarily buying as much, they're still out because we've all been cooped up for 2 years and everybody's tired of being cooped up. So people are out, they're going out with friends, they're going out, they're looking, they're shopping. You want the place that's getting that great foot traffic. You also want the mall that's offering that great customer service. If your mall has the people behind the counter that are kind of in a bad mood, or they're kind of, they don't want to help customers find the prices on things or whatever, we all know, we've been to those kind of places. Like, that's not a great place for your business. The people, since you're not there, the people behind the counter are representing your business to your customers. So if your mall is offering kind of crappy customer service, then that's not a great location for you. All right, the thing that is the most important though about your location is your target customer coming to your location? You may be selling mid-century modern. That may be your booth and your brand. But you may be in a location that's targeting people that are buying farmhouse and painted furniture. The people walking through the door are looking for farmhouse and painted furniture, and you're trying to sell them this. You're not getting your target customer, all right? Or it could be flipped. Maybe you're selling painted furniture and your mall is like filled with collectors and people that are wanting true antiques, or people that are wanting unpainted vintage MCM stuff, okay? You're not getting, it may be a great mall, like all these people may be selling stuff well, but if that's not what you're selling, then it's not gonna be a right location for you. So who is your target customer? Based upon what you're selling, who is your ideal customer, and are they coming to your store? Because y'all, there's a huge swath in the kind of places that are available for you to rent a booth at. You can rent a booth at a small boutique store. You can do a large type of flea market where there's literally anything and everything on the shelves. You can do an upscale antique mall. You can do something that's more like a mercantile, like the Painted Tree, if you're familiar with those, where there's, more kind of new, people have clothes and home decor, and it's a little bit more focused towards people that are wanting new things. There's this huge range, and you've got to figure out, like, those aren't all the same customer. So you have to figure out who's your customer based upon what you're selling, and you need to get in front of them. If you're listening to that and you're thinking, maybe I'm not in the right spot, don't worry. Let me tell you, I've left 3 locations in the course of my 10 years of business. I've had 3 places that just wound up not being the right spot for me. And I have a member of my coaching group who, she was in a location when she started and it was terrible. It didn't work out for her. And so she left the location, and it took her, I think, about 2 years. And she just found a new location that she's moved in that fits her business perfectly. And she's doing great. So it's okay if you have to shut something down and take a while to find the right spot. Again, we're talking about the fundamentals of your business. Yeah, when the economy is rip-roaring, you can maybe rent a spot at wherever and do fine. But when the economy is not, the fundamental of your business, your location, and getting in front of the right people is super, super important. Okay, number 2, the second fundamental that I really want you to pay attention to right now is your inventory. And so the first thing that I want to talk about with your inventory is, are you buying the right kind of stuff? So there's 2 ways to deal with what I was talking about your target customer and your location. Again, let's go back to the MCM mall and you're trying to sell painted furniture, okay? Maybe you need to stop the painted furniture and instead sell MCM. I have known some incredibly successful booth owners that they sell stuff that is not their personal taste or personal style at all, but it's what people want. So if you can't get into a location that fits with what you're doing, then you can work to adjust your inventory to meet the needs of the people that are coming through your location. And even if you are in a location that fits your target customer well, you still have to be asking the question, what are people looking for? What are they looking for right now? Just because you can find it cheap and think you can make a couple dollars on it doesn't mean that it's the right inventory for your booth. It needs to fit with your brand. It needs to fit with who you are as a business. It needs to fit with what your customers are looking for. Don't just buy anything, buy the right kind of things for your booth. And the second part of your inventory that is super important and a huge mistake that I see so many people making is just buying way too much. You're just buying and you're buying and you're buying, and so much of the money of your business is tied up in your inventory. And it's kind of like you're trying to stock the shelves at Walmart, but really you're just a little family grocery store around the corner. And you don't have to buy that much to keep your booth full. Like, overbuying inventory, I'm convinced, is probably the biggest mistake that most antique booth owners make. And that's because that's the fun part. Like, we like to go buy stuff, right? And we're always finding stuff to buy. And then we can believe, oh my gosh, well, if I don't buy it, I'm not gonna find it again. I have to buy it right now. It's cheap. Surely I can make a couple bucks on it. And then before you know it, we've got a storage unit full of stuff or a garage full of stuff. But you guys, that's not just stuff, that's money. That's money that you've put in a tub and you've set in your garage or you've set in a storage unit. And again, maybe while the economy is rocking and rolling, you can afford to do that, but you can't right now. You can't afford to do that. You don't need to buy so much that you've got a backlog of inventory for your booth. You need to buy what you can fit right now in your booth that's the right kind of stuff that you can display really well, that you can price really well, that you can buy for the right price, and then a few things to keep some holes filled. And then that's it. Pay attention to how much you're spending every month on buying new things. Set yourself a budget. Don't let yourself go and just keep buying and buying and buying. Only buy what you need to stock the space that you and that will keep your business financially leaner and able to weather slow sales. The problem is when you have a dip in sales and you've got a massive amount of inventory, you just can't afford that as a business. Huge inventory, you have to keep those sales coming because you got to pay for all this stuff. You have to pay yourself back, right? So if you're leaner with the inventory than you're holding, then it's easier for you to weather those dips in your sales. Okay, that leads us to number 3. The third thing that is fundamental right now for you to pay attention to is just your business numbers. We've already talked a little bit your inventory. How much are you spending on your cost of your goods? Are you buying too much? Do you have stuff sitting in tubs that you don't even list and put up for sale for months and months and months? You got to stop doing that right now. Another thing is, are your prices right? Are your prices too low? Most of the time, I think booth owners are asking prices that are too low. They're not really understanding how much they have to charge for something in order to cover, the cut that the mall takes out, their rent, and the cost of their goods, so they can still have some money to pay themselves. Your prices have to be right. You have to pay attention to that because you may not be getting as many sales as you were getting. So those sales need to matter. Those sales are like what is going to pay your bills, right? So you've got to make sure you're getting the money that you need to get, that you need to cover all of those expenses that you have. I've done another video on this that I'm going to share right up here if you want some more information on making sure that your prices are where they need to be to have a healthy business. So another thing, maybe you're just paying too much for stuff, right? Maybe you need to find different places to shop. Maybe you need to just start saying no to some items that you find. You make your money when you buy a lot of times. And so if you buy something and you pay too much for it, then you've got to ask way up here and maybe your booth can't support that. And so you wind up asking this and then you're just not getting a big enough margin there. So keep track of what you're spending on your inventory and know, like, here's what I have. Here's what I have to spend. If I find something that's amazing, but it's more than what I have, then I'm not going to buy it. And then lastly, just your overall expenses. Maybe you have 2 or 3 booths. Do you need all 3 booths right now? Can you combine down into one? If your sales aren't rocking and rolling, then maybe you need to combine into one booth right now. Maybe you need to go into a smaller booth right now. Maybe you're buying stuff for your business that you can just kind of do without right now. Maybe you're buying a lot of products, DIY products for your furniture. And heck guys, I sell furniture paint and transfers, and I'm telling you, maybe you need to buy less of that. Maybe instead of trying a new color, you need to use up the colors that you already have right now. If you're not keeping track of any of that, you don't know though. If you're not keeping track of your expenses, then you have no idea. If you have enough to go buy your supplies, like the first step is just to know what your numbers are, is to be keeping track of them. What are you bringing in your sales? What is it costing you expenses wise to run your business? And then what is it costing you to buy your inventory on average? Getting a handle on all of those numbers will help you understand, is your business financially healthy? You can't evaluate the financial health of your business if you have no idea what any of those numbers are. Okay, so just like in my garden this year, I had to fertilize, I had to water, I had to get the bugs off. I had to pay attention to making sure that my plants stayed healthy so they would produce my vegetables because the weather wasn't helping me out. Those are the things that you need to do right now to make sure your business is staying healthy. Those are the fundamentals that you need to be paying attention to in your antique booth so you can weather this kind of less than great economic situation that we're in. So a couple other ideas that I have for you if your sales have been a little sluggish right now. Focus on those things that I gave you, but then also here's a couple proactive steps that you can try. Okay, number one is to just commit right now to work really hard on your social media marketing. It's free, it's not costing you any money, so it's something you can do to grow your brand and grow your business right now that all it costs you is your time. And I continue to see great benefits for my business because of the social media marketing that I do. And like I told folks in my bootcamp group earlier today, you don't have to personally enjoy social media. I don't personally enjoy it, but I do use it for my business. If you want to know how you can maximize your social media, specifically a Facebook business page for your business, I've got a video about that right here. So just try that. Give some extra energy into that right now to see if you can build that better connection with your local customer base and get a couple extra sales out of that. Another thing that you can try is just, if you've never shipped anything, if you've never sold anything online, be willing to give it a shot. I have people all the time that will ask me, they see something on my Facebook page, on my Instagram account, and they want to buy it. Even before I sold online, I had people that would see something and they would say, would you be willing to ship that to me? So if you haven't ever done it before, it's not as scary as it seems. Again, I talk a little bit about that in this video up here. The video was about hosting a Facebook Live sale, but in that video, I show you how you can use PayPal to send people an invoice and some basics of how to collect for shipping, how to figure out how much stuff costs for shipping, how to buy shipping labels at a commercial discount. That's all up here in this video. Honestly, you guys, there's no way to figure it out though, unless you just give it a try. But if someone's willing to pay you for something, like why not? Just try it. If they say they want something and you've told them the price, next time you're at your booth, grab it, bring it home, put it in a box, tell them how much it's gonna pay, tell them how much, give them a quote to ship it, and ship it to them. Just give it a go. So many people I just don't wanna do that at all. Well, right now you may need to consider doing that. Right now, where you're living could be kind of sluggish, but over here, there's somebody who wants what you have. And so take the sales that you can get, be willing to just give shipping something a try. The third thing that you can do is to be on the lookout for just additional revenue streams that you can add to your business. If your specific antique booth sales are a little slow, what else could you do that is related to your business that could be another stream of revenue? So something that I talked about today with my bootcamp group is selling informational products, which is basically selling your knowledge, teaching people how to do what you know how to do. And this can be hard for those of us that are creatives because we can assume that if it comes easy to us, then it's just easy for everybody. I know how to paint furniture, and so surely everybody knows how to paint furniture, but they don't, right? And so I can teach people how to paint furniture. and I can ask people to pay me to teach them how to paint furniture. So what are you doing in your booth business? What do you know how to make? Are you repurposing old items? You know, do you know how to upcycle something? Do you know how to make wreaths? Do you know you've got some cute craft projects that you're doing? Are you painting barn quilts? Are you just even just the talent of finding great garage sales and knowing how to pick out items and repurpose them? All of that is stuff that you know how to do that not everybody knows how to do. So what can you teach someone? What information can you sell? I'm going to tell you guys, I've had 3 people ask me in the last 8 days for informational stuff that they can buy from me. 3 people asked me to teach them how to do various things that have wanted to pay me to teach them. So people are willing out there. In fact, I think right now, people are even willing to spend, or more willing to spend on learning a skill than they are on just buying a product. So can you have a workshop? Can you teach a little class in your booth? Ask your mall owner, get creative, or maybe you can do it in your garage, or maybe rent out the room at your local Hobby Lobby and teach a wreath class. I don't know. What do you know how to do that you can offer that as a class or a workshop to people? That's just one idea for another revenue stream. You could also do custom projects for people. You could offer to help people with decorating. You could do custom shopping for people. There's lots of different things. Your booth and the physical sales out of your booth doesn't have to be your only revenue stream. When physical booth sales are low, it's really, really helpful to have kind of something else that can help balance that out. Okay, so to sum up, I say yes. Yes, your booth can survive this kind of sluggish economy. So first off, just stop panicking. Set the panic down. It's not helping you. It's not, you know, we all continue to talk about, oh, it's so bad. Oh, it's so bad. It's not doing us any favors. We can't do anything about any of that that's going on. We have no control over that. The only thing we have control over is how we're going to respond as business owners. So get your fundamentals together. Make sure that your business is fundamentally healthy. Make sure that you're doing what you can to keep those veggie plants healthy, right? During this tough growing season. And then maybe give some of the suggestions a try. See if you can jumpstart your sluggish booth. Work hard on your social media. Connect with customers. You could be surprised at what people may decide they want to buy from you. Or offer some knowledge to people. Sell something that's not just a product. Sell something that you know how to do. Get creative. I believe in you guys, and I believe in this business, and I believe in kind of this small economy. And in fact, I think that right now is the time for us where we can really thrive, because we're not charging people exorbitant amounts of money for things. We're offering people unique experiences, unique things that they can find. And I think people are longing for that. They're longing for connection. They're longing to learn. They like the idea of supporting small businesses rather than just continuing to send all their business overseas. Capitalize on that right now with your booth. I really believe that we can make it through this. So that's what I've got today. I hope that this video was helpful for at least one person who's watching today. I hope that it offered you something helpful. If it did, then please give us a thumbs up. I really, really appreciate that. The YouTube algorithm likes seeing that. You can also hit the super thanks button and you can leave our channel a tip for as little as, I think, $1.99. If you found this content helpful, that's a way that you can support my channel. And of course, if you're not a subscriber, then I would ask you to please consider subscribing. Try to offer you guys what I can to keep you motivated, to keep you encouraged. And I hope that this video has done some of that today. So thanks for spending some time with me, and I'll see you again soon.